Welcome once again, everybody, to the glorious TopherParkerCars fleet. Now, I've done plenty of videos on both of these cars, and the YouTube algorithm clearly has noticed because I don't get like any views on either of these cars anymore. So I'm gonna start toning down the whole fleet thing. Not as many updates are gonna come out because they just never get any views anyways. I mean, how many people out there are looking for content on a Land Rover that looks like a Ford Escape? Not really anymore. And most of the people that actually were out there to look at content for a car that looks like a Ford Escape, but much less reliable, are a bit upset at me for some of the things that I've accused this car of. Views on this car have just plummeted, but not as badly as they have with the BMW. Now, it's a typical YouTuber thing where you get tired of the cars that you own not getting you many views, and that's something that's annoyed me with Hoovie's Garage, how he's just completely given up on his own fleet updates. But now that I've been doing the whole YouTube thing, I kind of get where he's coming from. There's not that much interest on either of these cars. But that being said, it's still my channel, so I am going to do what I want. And what we are going to do today is a fleet update, because there are some good updates, some bad updates. So let's get started. And let's start with car numero uno, the car that started it all for me, my 2005 BMW 325xi. The last time you saw this car, I was considering getting rid of it to get my brother's E90 2006 325xi, and I sort of decided against that. Here's what happened. I was driving along one day in this car with my friend. We got rear-ended because of traffic, and the girl that hit us claimed that she dropped her keys, and that's why she wasn't looking at the road ahead of her. That's what happened. So I got rear-ended. We took it to a collision shop, which under the girl's insurance paid for any extra damage back there to be fixed. And while they were at it, I basically thought, you know what? Let's give this car the treatment that it's always deserved after I gave it 30,000 miles of straight neglect, put some money into it. So I told them, fix the rust, fix all of the damage from when it was backed into and when it was run into. So they did that. Now this BMW is completely rust free. There isn't a speck of rust back there, which is what I like to see. And that got us motivated, me and my dad, to put some work into the rest of the car. We fitted a much better hood. As you can see, less paint chipping, less rust on the front. We fitted a bumper off of a 330i and a correct color matching fender panel on the front. As you can see, it's no longer black, silver, and turning brown. It's black, black, and black, which is exactly what you want. This car no longer looks like it's done 193,000 miles of straight neglect. It looks much better. And there's still some work to be done, like this driver's seat needs to be replaced because it looks horrible. All four window regulators are basically on their way out and barely work. And it still has the clutch problem, has a pretty bad drivetrain vibration. So there's definitely more work to be done, but isn't it nice to see this car in a beautiful looking state? It's much better than it used to be. And I felt so horrible having treated this car so badly over 5 years of ownership that I think it was finally time to give this car the treatment that it deserves. So getting rear-ended was actually the best thing that could ever happen to this car, because it got me and my dad motivated to put this thing right and make it look good again. And now it's not embarrassing to drive around anymore. Doesn't look like it's been in any sort of accident, even though now it has 2 on its record. Doesn't look like it has 193,000 miles. It makes me feel so good looking at this car. I can actually have pride in it again and not be embarrassed. So with the good news, we're gonna turn slightly more sour. Here we have my 2004 Land Rover Freelander V6, and a couple things you may be noticing. Flat tire on the front, and it looks like it's been parked for a while. And would you believe the reason why? Let's just pop the hood real quick. And would you believe it? I remove the oil cap and I see milkshake. I'm not even kidding. This Freelander, after so much work, so much effort, 2 head gasket replacements in 4 years of ownership. This Freelander has blown another set of head gaskets. I can't believe I'm saying it. I had just passed 10,000 miles with this car and was telling people how much better it is than every Land Rover that they made back then in terms of ride quality, comfort, and usability every day. It's better than the Discovery, maybe even the P38 Range Rover. I was even going to that level of praise with this car, telling people it's been so reliable, it's been so good, it's been so awesome. And then one day the temperature went into the red and started fluctuating, doing all that fun head gasket warning sign stuff. And all it took was me checking the oil cap, and that was that. This car has probably blown 4 or 5 sets of head gaskets in its life. Completely unbelievable, absolutely unacceptable. And the fact that there's even any more of these things on the road in the States at all completely baffles me. It only takes a certain level of stupidity to keep one of these things on the road. So I'm not saying anything for sure, guaranteed yet, but I think I've pretty much made my mind up. I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. I've had enough of this car. It's insane to keep on doing this. Every time the head gasket blows, it takes months to fix. The first time it was because we had no clue what we were doing and we found out it was very hard. The second time was because the heads were cracked. So now, even though the whole top end of the engine of this car is refurbished and new, it still does this. It's just unbelievable, and I can't stomach the idea of doing this job again. If this car wants to die, if this car wants to keep blowing head gaskets, it can ruin somebody else's life, but I've had enough. I'm done. It's just insane putting up with this level of sheer unreliability and terrible build quality and making excuses for a car that looks like a Ford Escape. I've had enough. 99% certain I'm gonna sell this car, but there will be one more update video on this car detailing everything if I decide to sell it or if I decide to fix it. My dad wants to fix it. I don't. I've had enough. It's not worth it. So not worth it. So yes, it's a minor fleet update, kind of small, but what can you expect? I've had both of these cars for a long time and don't have that many ideas for videos to do with them. So I think that's gonna do it for my fleet update. Not that much else to talk about. Oh yeah, except that. There's another car in the fleet. Introducing the newest member of the TopherParkerCars fleet. This is my 1995 Buick Roadmaster Limited sedan. And hold everything, we know what we gotta do. I don't even need Michael to help me on this one. Look at that. That's how you know you got a proper grandpa car, because 1, the suspension is so ridiculously soft that it's baffling that this car was ever put on the market. 2, it has a big throbbing V8 under the hood that we will look at soon. And 3, it is so big that it doesn't even fit in a parking spot. So yes, I am pleased to announce that the newest member of the TopherParkerCars fleet is from the great land of freedom, America. And would you just look at this thing? It is a big old boat. Oh yeah. Anybody who has watched a lot of my recent videos, particularly the Buick Riviera review and the Volvo V70 video, will know one of my best friends, Michael. I sort of met him thinking he was a European car guy because he had a Volkswagen, and then he got a BMW E39. I always thought he was a European car guy. Then he bought a Buick Riviera, and then he just recently bought a 1991 Oldsmobile 98, which you'll see on the channel soon. Big old American land yacht. And that guy has gotten me wanting to get in on that action. So I had to one-up him. I got 2 more cylinders up there underneath the hood, makes big old V8 American power. And I got myself such a big car that even the old lady can get in and take it out for a Sunday drive to the church and back. And yeah, I had to one-up him, so I got the big boy, the Roadmaster. Now I can't take any car seriously unless its displacement starts with at least 5.5 liters and 8 cylinders and drinks so much fuel that I'm stopping at Costco every 3 days to fill it up. It's got to have plenty of room in the back for all of the girls I'm going to be driving around with, and it reeks of cigarettes. And it has to have not just enough room in the back for my golf clubs, but everybody else's golf clubs too. Let's look at that. All right, fellas, you know that it's a good old American boat if you can fit a lot of golf clubs and Budweiser in the back. Let's find out. Not me almost pulling off the door panel again. Oh yeah. Nothing like a big satisfying square button that I press and then opens up the largest trunk lid panel I've seen in my entire life. And you can fit lots of bodies in the back of, oh yeah, you could fit quite a few of me back here. Indeed. Let's just bounce. I mean, what kind of vehicle have I purchased when I can do this in the back? Oh yeah, baby. Okay, so I've got me a big old trunk back here. I can fit lots of beer and golf clubs, other stuff. All right, back to the whole car reviewer type standpoint. You look right there and you can see your classic General Motors option packages. So you can really look and see if you got a good deal on your car. Now, this car, I won't disclose, but it was much less than $1,000 to purchase. So if there's any option code in there that really ramps up the value, then that'll be pretty cool. Also, being a big, large American V8 muscle sedan, where do you go to, I don't know, refill it once it's gloriously emptied its freedom-filled trunk? That's where your fuel door is. You fold down the license plate, and if you're, you like to do a bit of crime, then you can fold down this plate, go and rob a gas station, drive off, and then pull over to the side of the road, your plate's back. So if you want to be doing some stuff and don't want to get caught, then Buick Roadmaster. And here we go. This is the pinnacle of American luxury. You know it is when your trunk, soft close, fellas. But despite the fact that this thing is like 800 feet long, like this seat's in my driving position and it's digging into my knees. I think part of that has to do with the fact that the Roadmaster was also available as a big, large family station wagon with a 3rd row rear facing seat. So because of that, the wagon needs a lot of extra space back there, and clearly if you see in pictures with that huge rear window, it does have a lot of space. But that also means that the people who can't afford the wagon that they want, so they have to settle for the sedan, get screwed over with their rear seat passenger comfort. I've got no leg room and pretty much no headroom, but all I need to do is just pull on this glorious leather strap and look at the real wood that I've got, and metal switches for the door locks and for the windows, and you forget all about that because you're in the pinnacle of American luxury. Oh yeah. Ignore that. Here we are up front in the Roadmaster. Edit that out. We sit up front on these glorious, pillowy, soft, velour, whatever it is, bench seat up here. If you fold this back, you see a full bench seat up here. So I could fit 5 nice, fine ladies in this vehicle. and drive them down to the golf club, show them some real stuff down there. Oh yeah. If anybody out there really knows me, that just fell apart. If anybody out there really knows me, they know that I've always kind of lusted after a big grandpa car with two requirements, a bench seat up front and a column-mounted automatic transmission. And I have that here, fellas. And check out this gloriously worn 4-spoke Buick steering wheel with supplemental restraint system written out, so you know it's nice and luxurious, because peasant cars would just have SRS written there, or airbag, but no, Buick had to really accentuate the words to make it nice and luxurious sounding. Speaking of Buick luxury, every time I drive this car, I've got that beautiful Buick hood emblem up there in all of its glory. Not in any way a car company that sells 2 cars in America that are both terrible and 400 cars in China. No. The Buick logo is up there in all of its national patriotism and pride and freedom and glory. Looking forward, at the dashboard, you have electronic climate control, which is automatic. Pretty nice for a 1995 vehicle, indeed. You can switch the direction of the fan from middle to blend, whatever that is, to floor. And yeah, down there you have where the radio would be if I had that, which I don't. And the most important thing, oh, hey, look. Here's a clips for my door panel that's falling off. That's nice. Down here, the most important part of this vehicle, given the smell in here, is the ashtray. Very well used in this car indeed. Let's look over. I haven't actually checked the glove box yet. Do I have any treasures? Oh, yes, my Buick Roadmaster owner's manual. There's the car that I have. That's the one that I really wanted, but we'll forget about that. It's glorious and luxurious and comfy up here. Inside the gauge cluster, I have only the important stuff: speedometer, fuel, and temperature. Nothing else is needed. I don't need anything else, just the essentials. And they're all written in big letters because, given me driving a Buick, I'm probably like 95,000 years old, driving from the retirement home to the golf club to my great-great-grandkid's house. So I'm gonna need big, wide, bolded numbers so that I know what my speed is. Let's look up front, the real special part of this car. Pulling the door panel off again. Oh my God, I'm getting shocked. Let's look at the powerhouse. Pure American muscle. Don't believe me? There you go. V8 port fuel injection. Those are just a few words that I use to silence the haters. V8 port fuel injection is written over what is an LT1 Corvette derived V8. It's not the exact same as the V8 that is in the Corvette from the early 90s, but it's got quite a few similarities. I think the only real change is, dare I say, the block. It's an iron block version of the LT1, which in the Corvette was all aluminum. Don't hold me to that. That's just what I remember. And in this car, it makes 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, which makes it the torquiest boy that I've ever owned. More than enough torque to light up the rear tires, which is pretty great. All I can tell you is that it is indeed a Corvette-derived V8 underneath the hood of this grandpa car. Totally unassuming until it's passing you. At least maybe it would have been in the 90s, like 30 years ago. Now, might be a little bit too old for winning drag races, but it's definitely quicker and torquier than anything that I've owned before. So yeah, pretty sweet little engine up here. When I say little, it's not. It's quite a big engine. That is a tour of my brand new, to me, 1995 Buick Roadmaster Limited. And this is the part of the video where I admit the fact that she ain't perfect. This car has got a lot of problems that need to be addressed, most of which I'm not really sure I want to even deal with. First thing that you can immediately see is it wouldn't be a TopherParkerCars fleet car if it didn't have a mismatched panel on it, and I don't know what happened up there, but it is very obviously not beautiful beige America gold like the rest of the Buick is. That's something that kind of bothers me, but it doesn't affect the drivability. What does affect the drivability is the fact that I'm not sure if it's supposed to be quite this bouncy. And when I drive it, it feels like it's steering with the rear wheels, not the front wheels. I took it to Jiffy Lube the other day, just getting the emissions done. I told them, hey, if you could, can you check the suspension to see what's going on? Whole back end is new, differential, springs, all good. They told me that the front struts need to be replaced, and they quoted me $4,000 to $5,000, which on a Ferrari would make sense. But a 30-year-old Buick, I think not. I asked them why, they didn't know, and I'm like, cool, never coming back again. See you later. $4,000 to $5,000. I really hope that it's not that expensive to get that done, and if it is, I'm just gonna risk dying in a horrible car accident every time I take it out. I'd rather do that than drop that kind of money on it. Plus, $4,000 to $5,000 is like $4,000 to $5,000 more than the car's worth, so I'm not gonna bother with that. Also, there are some cosmetic things that you may have seen, like the door panel that keeps falling off, the window that keeps falling down because it's not connected at the bottom. That's clips and things, not a big deal. What is the bigger deal though? It stinks of dog and cigarettes and sadness and a failed life. It's not a good smelling car in there. That's a big problem for me. I hate stinky cars. It bothers me. What else? Oh yes, there's this interesting license plate Bondo repair on the rear bumper. Like, I recently did a rusty car spotting video in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If it's up, you'll be seeing a link to it. Go watch it, it's pretty funny. And I made fun of a van out there for having rust at one point, and then instead of fixing it, whoever owned it just cut it out with like a saw. That's basically what they did on the Buick, and they filled it in with Bondo, glue, and license plates. Makes absolutely no sense. So this car doesn't really have a good side to it. Oh yes, Michael. So when I was talking about wanting to get a big old American land yacht, did you think I was actually going to do it or no?
I think I thought you would, but I didn't think you would this soon.
Me neither. And then this just showed up on Facebook Marketplace one day, and I'm like, hey, I'll go look at it, and then hello, gorgeous. This is what I've got. And I'm going to show Michael in our next video just how much more American land yacht glory, pride, and freedom this car has to its name than a puny Oldsmobile 98. So stay tuned.
Yeah, at least mine has a wholly intact interior.
Yours doesn't smell like cigarettes on the inside, and I'll give you that.
And mine's blue. I'm blue.
Yes, but this is like gold. We'll
talk about it later.
Think of a bald eagle flying through the American sky, right? And yeah, he's solid gold because it's the richest country on earth. And we are made of nothing but greatness and freedom and pride. And that's what's built into this Buick. I've got America pride gold, reminds me of money and wealth and power. And yeah, it's just great. So there'll be more content on this car and the Oldsmobile. We're gonna do a comparison video coming up soon. I have no clue what I'm gonna do with this car. Maybe keep it, fix up some stuff, make it really clean, maybe run it into the ground because it is a beater, very, very cheap, not worth that much, and has 225,000 miles at least. Maybe I'll fix a few things, clean it up, sell it for profit, or maybe I'll just keep it as something kind of cool to have, an old kind of classic cool car. If you guys at home want more updates, more videos on this car, or have ideas for what I should do with it, don't hesitate to comment below.